Hi, and welcome back to the Boss Goddess podcast. I am Barsi, your host. And in this short episode today, I have two announcements to make. The first one is that we're taking a little break between seasons so we can prepare the next round of episodes for you. And this season was all about developing that inner process and connecting with your intuitive compass and taking actions that explore what you're ready to create next and getting really intentional about how you want your next chapter to feel and how you want it to serve you. So for this next season and beyond, we'll start to sprinkle in some more external action pieces. I want to share with you different ways to bring all of that inner work to life in practical ways within your business, whether it's a new venture or one that you're tweaking like I did, or one that you're planning to create. And I want to share how you can bring your message to life and grow that message as you grow your venture, as you create your legacy, but how to do it in honor of who you are at your core, in honor of what you really believe, and in honor of your actual time and energy. And the key to all of this is understanding what combination of actions and processes will make up the best strategy to support and sustain the uniqueness you bring to the table. What combinations feel best in your energy, with your bandwidth, in your circumstances. This one's really, really important. The best combination that fits into the lifestyle that brings you the most joy. This is how you activate all of that intuition work. The action is where the confidence lives. The action is where you get to experience yourself. And the action is where you get the clarity. There's a lot of stuff out there that tries to prepare you to get clear before you take any action. And the truth is, the clarity actually comes out of taking action. And the confidence lives there as well. And I think that we don't hear that enough. We don't talk about that enough. So I'll probably do an episode about just that at some point as well, because it's something I'm realizing the more action I take, that's actually the way it happens. It's, you get clear enough on what you want, what you believe, what your intuitive voice is. And that's all the inner work we talked about a lot in this season 11, this first season of Boss Goddess. But the action has to come sooner than you might think. It's you're not waiting for that perfect understanding of like what all of the steps are. It's really about taking that one step and taking some action and trying things on so that you can figure out what that combination looks like for you, and so that you can experience some successes and some growth at the same time, so that you can develop the confidence, so you can see the clarity come in. Okay, so the combination, getting the combination wrong is part of it too, like I just said, so that you can have the growth. And I want you to think of that a little differently. We also talked a lot about being in observation this season. So I want you to take that with you into the action when we start talking more about action steps you can take, because that's how we get to fine tune. That's how we get to grow and get the combination closer and closer to what works best for us. And we have to keep that intuition intact. We have to keep that intuition and observation intact, because these are the things that will be your guide when your circumstances change, when your bandwidth is altered by that. That's how you'll be able to be nimble and know deeply when the combination needs changing again, or when you just know, when you don't have to think too hard about every single decision. That's why building a strong relationship with your intuition is so important. It frees you up to know exactly what will and won't work for you, so that you can make quicker decisions, so you can be nimble. Now, I preface that by saying that when I say you'll know, that doesn't mean that you'll try things and they won't work out the way you hope. That all the other stuff is still true, the stuff you can't control. But you can control whether something feels right in the moment. And you develop that from doing the inner work. So that is a big foundational thing that you can take with you as you start moving towards what you want. And all of that is how you stay tapped in. And when you're tapped into the energy of yourself and the energy of what's around you and what your vision is, then knowing those action steps, what actions to take and what processes to try will also be easier to make those decisions. So you can look forward to episodes about the power of podcasting, from having your own show to guesting on shows. You can look forward to how to leverage long-form content like a podcast with adding more long-form content like a blog or using SEO drivers and platforms like Pinterest and YouTube. You can expect to learn more about creating your messaging and what I call your capsule content. We'll talk about when to hire and how to hire well. Key thing there truly is this intuition piece. That is key when you're hiring and when you're delegating, which this all ties into delegation as part of knowing when to hire and knowing how to hire well. And we'll talk about how to create an easeful sales strategy, one that doesn't feel forced, it doesn't feel out and incongruent to who you are, that is part of your flow and that feels authentic and isn't going to get you stuck in like a hustle-y a pattern. Because here's the thing, you may find yourself in some hustle because when we're trying new things, we may end up in places that aren't congruent with who we are or where we want to stay. But that's just information. The quicker you realize that it's not what you want, that's again, that inner work, that observation that you want to take with you, then you'll know like, okay, this doesn't feel easeful to me. And what processes do? And then are these working for me? Do I like them? And am I getting the successes that I want from these strategies? And then you build that combination. So that's just an example. So, and then also I want to talk about how to create more visibility so that you can get that easeful sales strategy. So being more visible in the places that you want to be, which actually combines well with risk, taking risks, finding out where your edges are with that. I want to talk about how to identify your zone of genius, how to create a personal brand, and so many more things. So this is where I want the conversation to go. And this is what we can start putting together to start building what you want to build, whether you have a creative project that you want to lean into, whether you have a metaphysical business or a coaching business, or you're an executive and you want to start having your own personal brand. I mean, all of this is relevant to any of those scenarios and more. So I can't wait to dig in to all of the things that I've been trying and the things that I'm going to be offering. So you can expect to hear from new guests. And of course, we'll still have our solo episodes too. And you may have noticed that this episode came out on a Thursday. We will also be moving our release day to Thursdays. Okay, so I have one more announcement for you. In addition to this podcast rebranding to Boss Goddess, I have also rebranded my agency to be called Boss Goddess. The website officially launched and went live this week on Monday at boss-goddess.co. And I'm so excited to finally share this with you. And it's different than the original website that was at that domain. So this whole thing, it's been a really long time coming. And the big thing about it is this. This is what I decided to do. This is what I was on the fence about for a really long time. I've combined everything. I combined my intuitive inner work resources, like the self-attunement audio course, with my agency offerings, which are, branded podcast production and SEO and content marketing, basically everything I just shared that I want to cover in the podcast in the next seasons, in the upcoming seasons, because all of those offerings, from the inner work resources to the agency offerings, all of those offerings I've created for the same person at different stages of the journey. And here's what I realized. One of the biggest things I've discovered through my own journey this past year of shifting everything and recreating what I wanted to put out into the world was that even though I've been in business for 7 years, I felt like I was back at the beginning again. And I found myself revisiting those foundational tools and needing to reattune with who I've become, who I am now, what I want now, so I could understand where I wanted to go next based on who I was now versus who I was 7 years ago when I started, or even 3 or 4 years ago when I was just, walking through a different circumstantial life. And I further realized when talking with guests like Brianna Rose in episode 156 and Katie Soul in episode 158, where they shared similar experiences to mine that I was having in real time when I did those interviews, that this is all part of the process, that attuning and reattuning and kind of cycling through, beginning, middle, and end over and over again is normal and healthy. It's needed so that we can tap back in and honor and meet ourselves where we are in the growth that we actually want to take at any given moment in our process, in our creations, in our businesses. So I didn't want them to be separate anymore. I wanted them to be available to any woman who comes to the site and is in that place like I was in, and am still in some ways. We're starting over in a lot of ways is what it feels like. But here I am in my 8th year of business. So that can feel really confusing. So knowing that it's okay to come back to the inner work, to come back to ourselves and to reattune and realign and figure out what we really do want next as we're in a place where we can take action at the same time. So combining that ebb and flow, combining that inner outer experience that we're always having, that dialogue with ourselves and our external world and our external actions that we have to take in order to bring the things we want to life and to experience the life we want the way we want. It started to not make sense for me to put them in 2 different places, because I realized that is more congruent with how it really works. And we're never in one place at one time. We're experiencing a lot of things at once. We're experiencing our past, present, and future in our minds all the time. So I wanted to combine sort of the real holistic experience and have resources for whatever it is that you need at any given moment, whether it's, a service to get something in action. While we do what we do, you can go do a meditation or take one of the attunement courses and, come back to yourself and recalibrate and calm your nervous system and come back to your core while things are working for you in the background. So that combination to me started to feel really, really aligned. So that's what we launched on Monday. So I would love to hear what you think. So please check out boss-goddess.co, the new version where everything is all in one place. And of course, if you feel called to any of the services, please don't hesitate to fill out our intake form on the website. And lastly, for a limited time, I'm still offering a free one-to-one call with me where together we can figure out what your next best action is, or how you might begin something that is on your heart to start, or how we can elevate your visibility and attract your aligned people. And it's totally free. And this is the stuff I love. I love sort of helping people figure things out for themselves that feel, exciting and that honors who they are and where they are. That it's everything. I just love it. And I'm doing this because I want to, because I love it. And it's just my way of celebrating this launch. So I hope that you take advantage of it, and I hope you go and sign up. And I'll see you in the call or in our next podcast season, which is coming soon. So till then, bye for now. Thank you for listening to the Boss Goddess podcast. If you'd like to join me in a free strategy call for your brand or business, or soon to be brand or business, just click the link in the show notes. We'll talk through how we can create more easeful sales and visibility in your business with your content strategy or optimizing your message. I'll see you there.